Hi there, I'm Bennett. This is Living My Alaska. We spent a fantastic 12 months living and traveling out of our Alaskan camper van. We saw amazing wildlife, gorgeous national parks, and epic scenery in every direction. We learned some valuable lessons on how to survive from the heat of the summer to the Arctic winter and everything in between. I'm so excited to share it all with you. It starts now. Let's go. Central Alaska. First week of January. 0 degrees Fahrenheit. 5 p.m. Coachman 2023. Coachman Galleria 24FL 4x4 on the Sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter 3500 4x4 dually chassis, 170 wheelbase extended. We're testing the Truma Combi hot water and heater furnace on propane at the moment. You can see the exhaust gas from the propane running exit of the van. There's no smell. I think it's pretty much just water vapor that comes out. It's warm. It's quite chilly out here. Lots of windows on this van presents an issue, isn't it? So Coachman does quite a nice job wrapping this van in insulation for sound deadening and thermal insulation. Quality windows for sure. But as you know, just like in a home, windows present challenges for cooling and heating. So we will go inside and we will put down the shades to help with insulation, and we will put up the driver's compartment window insulators. And we'll see how that helps. It's cozy in there. One of the issues we have in winter with this van, which is this big door. In the summer, this works great. In the winter, not so much. So as you'll see, when we go to open it, well, this time it opened just like it should. So bravo. Welcome inside. Some of the lights are on. So it's actually 43 degrees. It went from 30 to 43 degrees in about 10 minutes in here. And I've got the door open, so that's not going to help. But at the moment, we've set it to air heater, gas, automatic. And it's set at 71 right now. We'll drop it down to about 67. Currently 43. Lots of beautiful lights in this thing. We're going to light it up and have great fun with it. Come on inside. These window shades provide quite a bit of insulation. An impressive amount of insulation, actually. You can see our windows are starting to freeze up. My hands are very cold right now, painfully so, because it is 0 and dropping fast. We expect -10 tonight. But these window shades are made out of a material that seems to do quite a nice job in insulating from the outside. I think the gold standard for vans right now is the attachable insulator things that one can put up in the window, and that probably does better than this. But this has been pretty good down to 0 degrees here. And so we pull these window shades down, and in the future I'll probably buy the fitted window insulators that one can snap in here, and that'll provide extra insulation of about 1 inch. And then pull this cover down and you'd be really insulated. So back here, even the rear, that's the rear doors. Pull this down and you can feel instantly the blocking of the cold air stays behind this shade. Current temperature inside the van, 39 degrees. Warming up quickly. Propane is at 40%. Truma says it's 42 degrees in here. And again, this is the Truma Combi furnace and hot water system, roughly 4-gallon hot water tank combined with either propane for heat or electricity to heat the water or electricity. And one thing to note with the electric power, even if you're on 30 amp, below 30 degrees, the electric power struggles to keep the van warm for the furnace. The propane is much more effective at creating heat for the van and much more effective at speeding up the process of making hot water when we need it. The next step in insulating the inside of this Coachman Galleria 24FL Class B is putting the window insulators for the driver's compartment. These were provided with the van when we bought it new from our dealer, and they fit in this sleeve. And so we'll go ahead and put these in, and we'll see how it helps warm up the inside of this very cozy and warm camper van. This is what we have. The round piece here faces forward. Coachman was nice enough to get this from Mercedes with seats that are powered and also reclined and swivel, which is an extra expense, but really appreciate them doing that because now you can see why. Here's how we do it here. So I can feel a little bit of there's a round metal thing here. I believe that is a magnet. Another one here, another one here. But there's nothing really for that magnet to grab onto. There's no metal here. So as I open the door, there's metal there. And I let it sit. And we shut. And so now we have an insulated cabin. Here's our insulated cabin on the Coachman Galleria 24FL 4x4 with the insulators for the windows in place for the driver's compartment. And folks, that makes a huge difference in terms of insulating this cabin to keep the cold out. Coachman provided us with swivel seats as a standard option on this van. And as you can see, this is a great place to have a place to sit, to remove your boots, put back on your boots before you go outside. And it's just another comfortable place to sit in a very limited space as a camper van. So let's go ahead and see how we're doing. It's been about 30-45 minutes since we fired up the Truma Combi furnace. And we started in here at roughly 30, and it's currently 48 degrees in here. It's warming up quickly. One more slide to pull down here. And this will complete our attempt at insulating this van for a cold night in Alaska that will be sub-zero, below zero tonight. We're expecting -10. So we'll do a quick walk around and show you how we've done this. So, blinds that do a pretty good job insulating. Probably a window insulator that snaps in would even be a better choice. A combination of those two things would be absolutely wonderful. Blinds are rolled down all across the back of the cabin. Quite a bit warmer back here than up front. At least it feels that way. Yep. My own gauge says it's 48 degrees back here in that corner. Truma says it's 48 degrees. So it's measuring quite well. We're plugged into shore power right now, 120 volt outlet. And as you can see, our batteries are happy and healthy. These are AGM, I believe, 330 amp hour batteries, and they do quite well in the cold. Cozy, very cozy. So now we wait. I'll check back with you later, and I'll share with you how we do as we warm this thing, or attempt to warm this van to what we consider sleeping conditions. My goal is to warm this van to at least 62 degrees tonight to be comfortable to sleep in. And we'll see how long that takes. We'll get back with you soon. So welcome back, leaving my Alaska. We're inside the Coachman 2023 Coachman Galleria 24FL 4x4. And it's currently -2 degrees outside, and we started the Truma Combi propane fired furnace about 30 or 45 minutes ago, and we are currently up to a balmy 52 degrees in here. These vents down here, you can feel, if I put my hand close enough to this vent, that's some very hot air. I can't hold my hand there very long. It gets too hot for me. So this is a 2023 Coachman Galleria 24FL 4x4. We purchased this brand new in Florida on our way back to Alaska. Drove it back to near Bellingham, Washington, near Seattle. Put it on a shipping container barge and shipped it to Anchorage. And we've been enjoying it ever since. So one of my favorite things about this van is the fact that it has a microwave. This is also a convection oven. We don't do much cooking in this van because it takes too much energy and it smells up the van. But we certainly use the microwave as we prepare lots of meals before we go on trips, and we stick them in the freezer. So it works very well. This is a very large closet. It's 104 for storage. This is the bathroom. It's roomy enough. This has a more of a realistic type toilet in it. It's not a cassette toilet. It has a dump valve just like a regular RV. In an emergency situation, you have a bucket. We rarely use the shower, almost never. It takes too much water. And we use showers. When we travel, we use showers at campgrounds and hotels and such. One of the largest refrigerators you can get in this kind of a van in the Class B segment. Refrigerator, freezer. And they were smart enough to make a freezer that it's a drawer, so you open it, you don't have to bend down there and dig in. You open the drawer, everything's there for you. And it works very well, very energy efficient. This is our power control station. This is how we control the Truma. We have heaters on the tanks and some of the lines, but at this temperature, I don't think I would count on them. Solar charger for the 330 amps of solar panels we have on the top. This is how we put it in store mode when we're not using it. And this is for your LP tank, your propane. The very nice, very luxurious, built by Mercedes driver's compartment with the window insulators in place. This would not be possible tonight without these things in place. We lose a tremendous amount of heat through these windows. And in the summer, you have a tremendous amount of heat that comes in through these windows. And when you go from the back of the van to the front of the van, you can see a major difference in temperatures. And this helps tremendously. Coachman put almost every option we could find on one of these, and they did a great job. This is sort of something like, I think it's called ultra leather, and it feels like comfortable leather, but it's much more durable. We find these to be extremely comfortable. Some of the most comfortable seats I've ever owned in any kind of vehicle I've owned, and I've owned some very expensive vehicles. I really appreciate Coachman including heated seats with power adjustable on the door there, and that really helps out a lot. All your controls there. They were smart enough to consider including seats that swivel. Both of these swivel. This one's extremely useful when it swivels around. One of the best things I really appreciate Coachman putting in this van, and I don't know if I've ever seen another one with this option, is a heated windshield. There are lines in this windshield. If you could see, they're very thin. When you press that button, whatever ice is on that windshield is gone within a few minutes. And it's of fantastic value in these temperatures in a place like Alaska. It would also not be possible to be in this van tonight with -5 Fahrenheit temperatures outside without these. They're very simple. It's just a blind, but it seems to make a tremendous difference in terms of insulating from the outside. And if we wanted an extra level of insulation, we could add window insulators like the front, like this, pop in here, and then pull this down for a double layer, and I think that would be the gold standard. This is how we control our Truma. This is for hot water and for heat and cooling. And as you can see, we're up to 53 degrees. We're making quite a bit of progress. Coachman didn't just build this van with just one outlet. These air outlets are found all up and down, and they put out quite a bit of hot air. An extensive cabinet network, and these are quality cabinets, tongue and groove. These little catches keep the drawers closed when we're traveling. One of the things we added that helps quite a bit, so we have drinking water straight out of our faucet, is this. It was a very simple install. Instead of trying to put something under the sink, this works quite well. This we almost never use because we don't cook in here. You could, but again, it smells up the van. I guess in the warmest part of the summer, we could open up the doors, pull the windscreens and the bug screens in, and ventilate the van as we cook, but we just don't. One of the other things we can do to insulate this van is get an insulated cover like we have for the windows for this, and we see these quite often. Lots of storage here. I didn't know I had water in there. Guess that needs to come out. Vitamix. Beautiful cabinetry all along. Coachman insulated the inside of these things for temperature and sound deadening, and I really appreciate them doing that. This is good quality felt, I think. This is to control your vent fan. One of the nice things we enjoy is this. For reading at night. And you can make it, if you wanted to, you can make it quite cozy in here. So they gave us lots of ports to charge things, Type C and one of the older USB port. Wonderful, both sides. And if you wanted to change the look in here, we can start turning off some of the lights. We have front and rear mood lights. Bath light can turn off. Rear cabinet, front cabinet, galley. So now I'll show you how we set it up for the evening. We leave the reading lights on. The reading light controls these. If you turn that reading light off, sorry, I might have blinded you there, but if you turn the reading light off, you'll shut these off. One of the more interesting things about this little light, it shows an effort to install quality in every little detail. And I'll show you what happens up here. So now it's dark. It's a night light. Touch it again, and it's your reading light. Night light. And a USB port. A really nice little touch of detail. And otherwise you don't see in this level of a package. So this is generally how we set it up for the evening. A little bit of light, a little bit of cozy. I'll walk up here, we'll show you what it looks like from this end. Really nice, really inviting, very well done. This ceiling is soft. It feels like leather. You can tell there's a heavy amount of insulation under here. When you push on it, it sound deadens, which is a very valuable thing in this van. It deadens the sound and vibration from the road and the echo in here. It also provides a meaningful amount of insulation. Bravo to Coachman for doing this, for making this extra effort. If you want to turn off more of these lights, cabinet LED is there. It simply provides you with a view of the floor. You can turn off some of these mood lights. And that's generally how we use it when we're set up in the evenings to relax. Let's see how we're doing on the Truma. 54. So as it gets closer to 60, it seems like it slows down a little bit. I know it's struggling. I know it's working hard. I hear it. They say propane doesn't work below 0. In this case, it is. This machine also has a generator. We could start the generator now. It's an Onan generator powered by propane. I have no desire to start there now. But if you hit that button, it will start even at -5 degrees. I've never tried it at -15, but we will one day. Actually, take that back. I did. I tried to start this at -20, and it started, and it ran quite well, even when the main engine on this thing really struggled, and most diesel engines won't start at -20, -25. So, bravo. But we're quite pleased with the performance so far. Okay, I'll get back with you as we watch temperature climb. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living My Alaska. I figured while we watch the temperature climb and we track how we're doing with this Truma propane-fired furnace system, we'd watch how Chad's doing on his way to the Arctic Circle in his Sprinter van. And I figured you might enjoy some comments about Alaska from a guy who actually lives in Alaska. Let's watch.
To the Arctic series, in which I'm driving my 2020 Mercedes Sprinter 4x4 van, all the way up to Dead Horse, Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, in the dead of winter time for some.
So Dead Horse is all the way north. It's not possible to drive any farther north than Dead Horse. It is at the Arctic Ocean, at the Prudhoe Bay oil field, where the Alaskan pipeline begins. It's roughly 500 miles from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay, and then another 500 miles back, mostly on an unpaved gravel 2-lane road that is maintained all year round by a dedicated crew. And most of it is through some of the most remote and extreme areas of Alaska that anyone has ever seen. Let's check back on the Truma. So currently, 55 degrees. We're doing it. We're making progress. So my Starlink is quite a bit of ways away from me, so the link is not exactly at its ideal right now. I think the Starlink is probably 30 or 40 feet away from the van, and so the Wi-Fi signal is not as strong as it should be. Starlink performs really well, and it's usually much quicker than this. I believe this is my fault, not Starlink's. There we go. So the primary goal of the Dalton highways was for the truckers, and those truckers travel that road 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, no matter what the road conditions, no matter what the weather conditions, because the supplies are desperately needed in Dead Horse and at Prudhoe Bay, and there truly are real professionals and heroes. They generally travel in packs or in caravans for safety, because if one of them goes down, they can retreat to another truck and help each other out. This is not a trip I would ever make by myself, especially not in winter. Okay, let's check how we're doing. It's been about 1 hour since I started the Truma. We are currently at 59 degrees, so we're going to call this a success. I don't know how long it would take to get to 62, and I may not try it tonight, but I know it is a roughly -5 outside, and it is a warm 59 degrees in here, and it took the Truma Combi approximately 1 hour to do that. And Truma still thinks it's 57 on its thing, but I believe this one. I'd say this is a success. This is more than adequate to spend the night in here, and it's quite warm, especially how I'm dressed right now. I'd say this was a success. I don't know if it would be adequate at -20, but at -5 it certainly works. And if we get a -20, we'll let you know. Alaska's Dalton Highway, some of the most extreme and most remote and uninhabited places of Alaska, but it is extremely rewarding and absolutely fantastic. The Hilltop is one of the final fuel stops for several hundred miles before you enter the Dalton Highway, and everybody that I know of starts there. The Dalton Highway sign is a major stop on the way north. As you can see, muddy roads, wet traveling. Seemingly endless construction zones slow you down quite a bit. We take our time going through these because these folks work hard to keep this road maintained. Without them, the road would be impassable. We stop at the Yukon River crossing for just a small bit of playful time, stretch our legs. As you can see, the back of my van is quite filthy. One of the few fuel stops along the Dalton Highway. We make it a point to stop at any and every fuel stop on your way to Coldfoot. Travel is slow, and scenery is epic. As you go north, trees become a thing of the past. The open rolling tundra, trees can't grow, there's not enough topsoil, and the environment is too extreme in winter. That's how you know you're really in the far north and nearing the Arctic Circle, when the trees disappear. We were thrilled to see this place. It is a fantastic campground, a wonderful place to stay for the night on your trip up. And one can really feel like you are off the beaten path when you're camping above the Arctic Circle. That's something not everyone can say they've done.
some of the Dalton Highway is paved. It's unclear to me on why they paved some sections and not others, but that's just the way it is. When we saw one of these coming, we often pulled over and let him go by. Endless views of the engineering wonder that is the Alaskan pipeline. Travels hundreds and hundreds of miles moving oil down to Valdezia, where it's then loaded on ships. Famous Coldfoot, Alaska, at the foothills of the Brooks Range. This is when you know you're really somewhere. That 240 miles is the distance to Dead Horse, Alaska, at the northern slope. This great global map gives you an idea of how far north we really are. The Denali Highway is a stretch of mostly gravel road, mostly maintained in summer but not in winter, and widely known and respected as one of the most scenic roads in Alaska. Don't let the term highway fool you. This is mainly barely a two-lane road, which is mostly gravel, through some of the most remote and unsettled parts of Alaska. It generally goes from Cantwell to east to Paxson, Alaska. That's Cantwell is approximately about an hour south of Denali National Park on the park's highway. And it's highly regarded as one of the most favorite among the locals for scenery. I hope you like it. A beautiful sunny day in early summer in Alaska is a wonderful time to visit. Not yet crowded with too many tourists, not yet overrun by mosquitoes. The Denali Highway was mostly ours. The camper van, the Sprinter van that we ride in and use for these travels, was quite comfortable. A little bit rough on the gravel road. Four-wheel drive and larger tires makes for a much more enjoyable experience. Mountain ranges, wild and untouched as far as you can see. The Denali Highway, as you can see, is not much of a highway. It's dirt, somewhat gravel, surrounded by untouched forests, and much of it impassable. The van managed the Denali Highway quite well. It was a wonderful experience. Our good friend Bob and Jess, in his rock crawler Jeep with his trailer, with his rooftop tent, worked out quite well. Endless rivers, endless mountain views, untouched, wild scenery as far as you can see, from the rivers to the green forest to the white snow-capped mountain peaks. It makes for a fantastic backdrop and an epic scenery. These rivers are known to hold sometimes salmon, sometimes grayling, sometimes Arctic char, sometimes trout. Quite easily to access and accessible and good for fishing. The snow has not yet left many areas. It's hard to imagine this landscape here in 6 months will be 6 feet under snowfall, and the roads are unkept, so it's impassable by car, mostly in winter. The Denali Highway offers many pull-offs, parking areas, where you can park and enjoy the scenery with friends, especially on a beautiful day like today where the weather was as good as it has been all season. That's our buddy Bob. He really enjoyed fishing there. He was successful at picking up several grayling out of that creek. As you make your way east from Cantwell to Paxson, when you get closer to the Paxson Inn, the pull-offs become better managed. The parking areas become larger, and as you can see, we now are on pavement once more. But the mountain views become more and more remarkable as we go. This is a great view of the Denali Highway on the other end near the Paxson end, where it's much better maintained. Nicely maintained two-lane road, fresh road surfaces, smooth, not too many potholes, just barely escaping the snow that's creeping up on each end. It's much more easygoing in the van than this kind of a highway. And as one can see, there's not much traffic this time of year. This is late May, early June. And it made for a wonderful driving experience, and we had this area all to ourselves. The Paxton side of the Denali Highway offers some wonderful camping, wonderful campgrounds like this one, where this lake is almost free of ice now, and known and respected for good fishing. That's Paxton 135 miles. That's from the Cantwell side. At the Cantwell sign, the Denali Highway is roughly 135 miles across to the Paxton side.
On this episode, we're working with this camper van. It is springtime here in South Central Alaska, and wow, I'm excited. It's been a long, very cold winter. I know we still have snow on the ground, and yes, we have 4 feet of snow in the backyard, but this is April, and that means melt is coming soon. We're prepping this van for springtime adventures, and on this episode, we have some problems. This thing rides really rough. It shakes back and forth when you hit bumps, throws things out of the cabinets. Rough ride means less fun. So in this episode of Living My Alaska, I'm going to show you some of the changes we're making to the suspension, the tires, the rear suspension, the shocks, and much more. I can't wait to get started, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go. So I've laid this old carpet here. Actually, it's a rug that was in our guest cabin, and my wife didn't like it, so it's almost new. But I've laid it under here to insulate me, and I have a limited amount of time out here before I'm gonna get too cold to do this, so I better shut up and start doing this. The instructions say remove these and remove this. Same for the other side, and then this sway bar comes off. Get my exercise today. So I'm not gonna take all these off just yet. I wanna pull this off here. Oh, it's tight. That's what she said. Oh, there we go. My apologies for the huffing and puffing. It's probably not the most attractive thing to hear. So I cannot get my impact wrench in there because our generator is sitting right here. So I have to do this the old-fashioned way. We're gonna loosen up this. So why is this important if we're just driving down a normal highway? We are in Alaska. If you want to drive down the highways of Arizona and Florida, you don't necessarily need all this fancy suspension upgrades. Our problem is we live in Alaska and we go down dirt roads a lot, and even the paved roads are brutal, rough. That's not to slight or talk bad about the state of Alaska. They do their best in some unbelievably difficult conditions. We don't want this very nice, very expensive camper van to rattle itself to death. So we're upgrading the suspension to give us the smoothest ride possible over very unfavorable conditions. We're gonna take off these 2 large bolts now and get this loose, and then we'll do the same for the other side. Impact wrench makes quick work. So now we gotta go do the other side. So hang with me for a second. All right, let's see if we can break these loose. All right, and again, it's a leverage thing because of my limited access. Keep your fingers crossed. So the plan now is to pull these bolts, pull these off, and then this bar will come out. At least I hope it comes out. Whoa, there's that. Looks like both sides are off. I gotta go pull off the other side. One of these, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna take off this bolt here, and that'll be the last bolt to remove this sway bar. Okay, she's off. So our next step is to pull these off. Right, this is the old sway bar. This is the new sway bar. And in theory, it's thicker and heavier, and stiffer, which will prevent some of the rocking that we're getting. We've got to remove these metal brackets, and then these bushings go on here, and then these metal brackets go over those bushings. Yep, here we go. That's probably not the way you want to use a wrench, folks. We do what we must in Alaska. So I don't need this anymore. The only piece I need off of this one is this bracket. So the instructions tell us, that we never read, the instructions tell us to use this lubricant on the inside of these bushings. So if we are successful at this today, I'll take you guys for a ride in this beautiful Sprinter van, and we'll test out what we've done, if it made any difference at all. So the next step is to put these on here, open up like that. And they're cold right now, and so they're stiffer than they should be, but I think we can get them on there pretty easily. Okay, That looks good. So these sit over these bushings and hold the bar in place. Okay, so now we got to do the fun part of crawling back under there and putting this back together. I sure hope it goes back together. Okay, here we are back under the van, and we will attempt to get this very heavy bar back in place without damaging anything or damaging me. Wish me luck. Wow, that thing's heavy. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this by myself because it's so heavy. Okay, so what we've done is we've got this bolt back in this hole, and I believe this bar goes on the outside. I'll have to go around and check the other one. We're gonna get this bolt in here. This is for the shackle, and it looks like it's gonna thread through it. The instructions are to put thread locker here. The next step is to pivot this bar up. As you can see, these two bolts and this holder for these bushings goes in like that. The challenge I'm gonna have is pivoting this in place because it's darn heavy. Okay, one more time. If I get just one bolt started, then I can put the thread locker in on the other. Yeah, there we go. So I'm thankful it's going together with relative success at this point. I think we have it in place. That was a beautiful sight, ladies and gentlemen. So we will go do the other side, then we'll come back and tighten all this up and torque it down. Okay, let's try the other side. Okay, so we're crawling back in here again. Our goal is to get this bushing in place. Uh-oh, now we have an issue. I cannot get this into place. That might help for us. Put this one in place, and then we'll put this back in. All right, I have a problem here because this isn't lining up. Oh, it's the wrong bolt, maybe. Okay, lesson here. Two different size bolts. Shorter bolt goes here, longer bolt goes back there. I think I've gotten lucky and threads are started. I have a feeling the suspension is uneven right now, and so it's causing this thing to flex. And we're having this issue. All right, so I'll go pull that other one off. We are done with installing the LMAk anti-sway bar. And I wanted to give you just a summary of the basic tools that I needed to do this job that made life a lot easier for me. 18mm wrenches, sockets of different sizes on some ratchets. The breaker bar with an 18mm to get these bolts here were quite tough to get out. The breaker bar helped. And then this electric impact wrench really helped to speed things along. But that's it. That's all we needed, folks. So one more time, I'm going to give you a summary. 3 basic improvements. That is the LMAk sway bar. We've put an adjustable set of rear shocks made by Falcon on this thing. And we've put an extra leaf spring. So this is the extra leaf spring where it bolts on from Super Springs, and you can adjust the tension on this. So we have it adjusted about as tight as we can get it to get as much lift as possible and support. We couldn't really get to the tightest setting, so we put it here, and I still think that's too much tension. We have these in the rear and in the front. So we're going to take this down to here, but first we have to reduce the tension on here so we can pull this bolt out. So that's where this U-bolt comes in. Oh, it's tight under here. I just ate too much lunch, so I can barely breathe. So there's a tremendous amount of tension on this spring. So you want to be very careful. I have this board, it's 2x4, that's going to take up a little bit of space so I don't have to wrench so much. All right, let's give it a shot. So excuse some of the noise here. I know the tension is off of it because now I can move this a little bit. All right, worst part's over, folks. We're going to put this back on. This is a Teflon nut, and they say don't torque it down too much, but I'm still going to put red Loctite. Red Loctite is the, I believe it's the strongest of the Loctites. The next step is to put this bolt back in. So our final step is to remove this. Oh, all right, there's one. So I'm hoping now most of the tension is back on this, and I can back that one off. I'm gonna work on this after we do this, and we'll do the other side, and then we'll go for a ride. So I'll be right back after I take some Advil painkillers and get this done. See you soon. Okay, we survived from doing that work under the van. What I want to know is whether me taking some of the tension off of those leaf springs drops the rear of my van, because I don't want that. So nothing's changed there. It's still 19 1/4. So we've taken some of the tension off, which is going to soften up the suspension with no loss of lift to the back of the van. So that's fantastic. We have about, I don't know, about 60% of the lift of the tension off of those springs, because the rear setting on the Super Spring is all the way soft, and on the front it's at the middle. What we're going to do is soften up, adjust the adjustable shocks just a bit. I'll show you how to adjust these shocks and what we're doing. Okay folks, so what we're looking at right here is the adjustment settings on the Falcon rear van. Setting 1, 2, and 3 on the gross setting, and then settings 1 through 8 on the fine adjustment. In the number 2 of the 3, you can adjust this, and I believe I have it almost all the way turned up. I've got it on 6 or 8. So I'm going to bring that down to 5. Actually, I'm going to go to 4. So we're adjusting the fine adjustment on these shocks to make it a little bit softer back here. Hey guys, so here's what we're doing. We're going to test out this van after the changes we've made. We've made several suspension changes to the back of our 2023 Coachman Galleria 24FL Mercedes-Benz 3500 chassis dually 4x4. That's a lot. It's a lot to say, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is we've adjusted everything. We're going to put this GoPro under this van, we're gonna go for a ride. Come on, let's go. I'll show you where I put this. We'll figure out where to put it. And we'll jump inside and I'll take you for a ride down George Parks Highway in beautiful central Alaska on the way to Denali National Park. Okay everyone, now that I'm thoroughly soaked and wet and cold, my backside soaked and wet from crawling under this van, I've set up a spare GoPro I have to record the suspension flex and activity as we go down the highway. Thanks for being patient. Prescription eyeglasses. These are not just so I can look cool or because it's bright and sunny outside. These are prescription. I'm blind in one eye, and by law I'm required to wear these when I drive. It says on my driver's license that guy's half blind, he has to wear eyeglasses. It's not what it says, but you get the point. So my hope is we gather and get the inside of this thing and how it rocks and rattles, and hopefully less rock and rattle. Okay, release the parking brake. We are in four-wheel drive, may or may not need it once we get out of the driveway. Not much rocking. I'm hitting potholes. Oh, that was a good pothole. A little bit of rattle back there, but not much in the way of sharp bumps at all. And okay, so we've got three different elements. Is the Hellwig sway bar set up correctly? If we've reduced the sway, lateral back and forth horizontal movement, then yes. Are we bouncing or are we not? If we're not bouncing as much, then we've got the shocks set up correctly. And then the last question is, how does it ride over small bumps? Have we reduced the sharpness that I've felt over the small bumps? And if the answer to that is yes, then we've got the super springs set up correctly. So now we're on the highway, speed limit 65 miles an hour, it's 2 lanes, 1 lane each way. And as you can see, it's much, much smoother, of course. We're gonna hit lots of expansion gaps in this highway. And there are a few curves here that we're going to take at 60 miles an hour to see what happens. And I'm hitting a few expansion gaps already, and I don't feel anything at all, which is really great. If that's the case, folks, I'm thrilled because I've been frustrated with this for quite a while, trying to fine-tune this machine to ride better. We're doing 63 miles an hour at the moment, and I'm crossing expansion gaps in the pavement, which leaves a little bump about every 10 or 15 seconds, and I don't even feel them. Before, when we had the extra tension, you could feel those, and you could hear the bang inside the van. Every time I get in this van, I grin because we have so many wonderful memories traveling in this van. We bought this van in Pensacola, Florida, and the nice folks at Sunshine State RV, Nick, the owner there, sent me this van free of charge, meaning shipping. He didn't charge me to ship it from Tallahassee, Florida, I believe it was Tallahassee, to Pensacola, which is quite a drive. I want to say about a 5-hour trip for the gentleman who drove it over to us and dropped it off to us at a campground in Pensacola. And then we got in the van and drove the van from Pensacola, Florida, down Interstate 10, all the way to California. And then we headed north through Northern California, through Oregon, and to Seattle, Washington, where we put this van on a shipping barge to Alaska. And that's how we got into Alaska. And it was a fantastic trip. We did that over a Christmas, New Year's break. We stopped and visited with family in Mississippi and Louisiana. Stopped and visited the hill country, the beautiful hill country of South Central Texas. Went through the deserts of Arizona. Beautiful time of year in December to visit those deserts because it's cool outside and brilliantly sunny and gorgeous. We stopped in Las Vegas for a few nights because my wife had never been to Las Vegas, so we spent celebrated New Year's in Las Vegas. So we're cruising at 55 miles an hour, and I am amazed at how very well this thing is driving at the moment. Extremely smooth. I can crank the wheel over here and there, and I feel it rock just a little bit, but not much. But as of right now, the sharp bump sensitivity is absolutely gone, and I'm extremely pleased about that because that was our biggest problem. We drove this van all winter on occasion. I tested it down to -30, and I have to say that I had problems getting this thing started at -30, and that's normal. I think just about any diesel engine in a -30 environment would give you a hard time. My concern was that the DEF fluid, which is required for this vehicle, was frozen, and the diesel was starting to gel. We use a additive in the diesel fuel tank to keep that
diesel from thickening up into a gel when it's very, very cold like that. Otherwise, the van performed very well. We drove it in, very snowy roads, 4-wheel drive. The Falcon Wild Peak snow winter rated tires did pretty well. Not as good as a studded tire, but good enough. This van is so heavy, and we've got so much weight on the back end of this thing. Traction was not an issue. I definitely want to make some changes for next winter. I want studded tires. We're cruising at 60 miles an hour down the beautiful George Parks Highway in south central Alaska. To give you an idea where we are at the moment, we are about 3 hours south of Denali National Park, about 2 hours north of Anchorage, nearest to the town of, I think, Willow. We can hit the rumble strip and see how that does. Not even so bad on the rumble strip. So we're going over a bridge now, and there are expansion joints, and I am not hearing much noise, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So the Falcon Wild Peak tires have been pretty good. We bought these at Discount Tire in Pensacola, Florida, from my good friend and fellow Catholic Christian man, Mr. Bruce Haley. Bruce, if you're listening, God bless you, sir. Hope you're doing well. The thing we want this van for is for travel places like Alaska. We wanted to go into national parks and state parks. We wanted something small enough to do that. We want to hit the gravel roads and the dirt roads that expand throughout Alaska and beyond. And so that is why I'm obsessing about getting the smoothest ride I can out of this thing. It's not for the highway. This van from the factory rode great on the highway. That's not for everything rides great on the highway. But it's when you hit Alaskan roads and gravel roads that we hope to have a better ride. And I think we're getting there, because on this trip I see virtually no evidence of hitting the expansion joints in the road, and I don't feel any sway. So I think after many, many months of research and trying and talking to people, I think we finally found a really good solution. So we're braking pretty hard here. There's not much rocking. Ooh, more potholes. Let's hit them. Bump. Oh. Hey, very good. I felt that suspension flex and no rocking. Yay, guys. I think we've done it. I think we finally solved it. I think it's been almost a year since I've been obsessing about this suspension on this van. I'm extremely pleased. It is springtime in Alaska. We're going to the big city of Anchorage today to do some shopping. And the boss lady here has a project she has to work on, so that's why we're headed to the big city. We don't do it often, and today we're going to test all of them suspension mods and some of the other things we've done to our fantastic Sprinter van in some really nasty weather. We've got gusty winds, we've got snow, we've got icy roads. Perfect day to travel in Alaska. Let's go. This is our new Starlink. A new Starlink Generation 3, Gen 3 Starlink, and this new fancy mount made by Trio Flat Mounts. And this thing looks to be 3D printed. Trio is a small company out of Canada, trioflatmounts.com, I believe. I'm really excited about this. This is going to go on our camper van. So we've got our Starlink, we've got the Trio mount mounted, and we have the connector cable for the Starlink that goes to the router. Yes, it's April, yes, it's snowing, yes, we live in Alaska, and winter doesn't want to give up. But we have a trip planned. If Alaskans waited for great weather, we'd never leave the house. So this is how it's done. So what we're doing is we're going to place this on top of the van with the magnets, and then we'll run this cable. And so these magnets will hold this Starlink in place. The goal is to not have to drill into the van. And what I'm doing is I'm wiping, and I'm just cleaning off the spot for the magnets. So I want this to be placed right about here. And as you can hear, wow, that's strong. It's definitely not going anywhere. That's strong in place. It's tight. We're starting to see a trend of these magnets used for lots of things. And because this is in a horizontal position and it'll be mounted behind our air conditioner that's on the roof of the van, we won't have many problems with air catching this thing as we're blasting down the highway. It's not going anywhere. And because it's such a low profile, you won't be able to see this from the ground. And so the next step is to get that cable run. And what we have to do is we have to run that cable through here. Okay, well, let's do it this way. We're gonna try to make this as neat and as professional looking as possible. So I'm gonna run it up through this hole that's in the rear view camera and into my Starlink that I've already mounted. And so this cable connects right in here. And that's it. On a normal situation, it would be at an angle, but with this Trio mount, it will be facing straight up into the sky and not at an angle. So if I pop this tab up here and then pull gently with my fingers, this pops out. Kickstand is gone, and this goes in its place. You can see there's a lip in there that goes into the Starlink, and then it clips in here. So
So what I'm trying to figure out is what's the best way to route this cable. Our ultimate goal is to send this cable through here and then into this compartment. What I'm trying to figure out what's the best place if I just run it right here and into this compartment. I'm afraid if I do that, water might pool up behind here and then leak into here. Like I could, you know, pull that up and then send it behind there. My best option is to run it over here. But if I do that, then I've got to figure out a way for this cable to be held in there. The easiest option might just be to run it in here. So maybe we'll do that. So let's see if this works. We're gonna have to run all this cable through. This is the hardest part because after this, it just goes into this compartment and then we go up around and into the rear hatch. Now that it's all the way through, we'll have to see if this actually fits under that rubber seal or not. But I think what we'll do is cut this little rubber seal a little bit right here so it fits around this cable that we're running through here. Otherwise, you're gonna have to figure out how to punch a hole in your roof and run the cable through, and that's a terrible idea. This, I believe, is much better. So we're just kind of figuring this out as we go here. And it's starting to cooperate. This rubber's cold, so it's not very pliable at the moment. A bit of a challenge, but we will figure it out. We've strategically placed this where both doors have a gap where it shuts. So when I shut this,
yeah, it works.
Yeah, that works pretty well right there. And there's not a whole lot of pressure on it because it's just this little seal here. It's not metal slamming against where that cord is. Man, that's about as easy and as clean as that cord. Super cool. From down here, nobody can see that Starlink. And so I've got it through there. And so what we have to do now is we're gonna go inside and pull the rest of it through. All right, so that's the end result right there. You see, we've run the cable exactly in line with the gap between the two doors. So that cable's not being smashed by either one of those doors when it closes. Super excited about that. I think it looks great. Let's go inside. So this is where we keep all of our sleeping gear. And what I want to do is I've run the cable into this compartment. As you can see, the cable's here. And then we'll move the extra cable over to the corner. So the Starlink comes with a few other items that we will install into the van. This is the new router. This is the power box. And you have your cables and your power cable. And that's it. It's super simple. And we're going to power it up with this little switch right here. So this goes to the Starlink next here. So this Starlink router has no lights on it. So we don't necessarily know if it's getting power or not. We can't really put all this inside of there because I think this creates a lot of heat. I guess we could try it. We just have to monitor it to see how much heat it creates. The far better option would be to have everything back in this compartment. Oh yeah, it even fits through there. Wonderful. This is such a cleaner install like that, as opposed to having all that stuff out here. And we can test it by Starlink app. And what we're looking for is Starlink router, Wi-Fi router. So it looks like it's powering on, Starlink is powering on, optimizing connection. That's good, that's what we want to see. And I'm super excited to see how well this works. This is a game changer, folks. For Starlink users, when we travel in our van, we work out of our van, and we use that van extensively for when we travel. We use it when we're off grid for cell phones and for work situations. And then when we get into cell phone range, we still use this for internet. And so this is going to be an invaluable piece of equipment. We have online service. It says Starlink is on the roof. It's looking up at the sky. We've run the power straight to that little switch where we can shut it on and off when we need it. It's a very nice, clean installation. And so we're going to do a speed test and see what we have. Wow. According to this, 5 minutes after the install on a nasty, cloudy day in South Central Alaska, we're getting 270 megabytes per second. That's impressive. What I'm excited about is I won't have to take this on and off the van like we did the old one. The Gen 2 model with the rotating dish, we had to take it on and off the van all the time, and I was always worried about something being damaged. And the hassle of taking it on and off meant that someone could steal it in the middle of the night. So I know what happens with Starlink. As soon as it boots up, sometimes that'll give you a false reading because it's not a realistic reading. But on a second try, we're getting 140 megabits per second, 135. That's still very impressive, and that's plenty to run what we need. And then it says 14 megabits per second upload. Thanks to Starlink. Starlink on the roof, we've got it set up. We've got it powered up. And folks, it's running. We're watching YouTube as we speak. We're watching, of course, Living My Alaska, what other channel is there? I'm super excited about having this. This is going to be great for you and your work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm so excited. We're going to share more about how the Starlink works in future videos as we're rolling down the highway. We're taking this thing to Denali National Park coming up very soon. We're taking it to Fairbanks. We'll probably take it up the Denali Highway again, probably all points in Alaska, and many of them off the grid and way off the beaten path. And Starlink is coming with us, and we're going to share with you in each one of those spots how it does and how it performs.
It's still snowing in Alaska. It's springtime, technically. Almost April 15th, and it's still snowing. It's about 35 degrees outside. You can hear the van running in the background. We're prepping our Sprinter van because we're going to the big city of Anchorage, Alaska. It's a rare occasion that we get to go to the big city and do some shopping. Dawn has a project that she's working on for a hospital. That's right, Dawn is a nurse and she is a world-class leader in the healthcare field. And so she's flying out to the little island of Dutch Harbor to do some work out there and help guide that clinic. So we're going to Anchorage today. We're going to spend the night in Anchorage at probably Camp Cabela's. Cabela's lets us park for free in their parking lot overnight. So that's probably where we'll camp. And we're going to endure these conditions. We have, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 mile per hour gusts. It's snowing. The roads are going to be absolutely rotten. And we're going to test the limits of the 4x4 Mercedes Sprinter camper van in these conditions. Let's go. Inside the camper van, we're nice and cozy and warm on our trip to the big city of Anchorage to do some shopping. And one of our favorite things to do is stop for sushi in Wasilla. What's the place called, honey?
Basil ginger.
Basil Ginger. Let's go eat some sushi.
How is it? Totally delicious.
Extremely delicious.
Was it tasty? Are you stuffed?
Delicious.
Basil Ginger, our favorite sushi place. It's really good. All right, Rob Boss Lady, you ready to go somewhere?
Let's go.
Looks like the snow is slowing down. We're gonna load up in the van, head to Anchorage. Load up. Anchorage, 35 miles. That's good.
Going to do shopping in Anchorage?
We're going to do shopping in Anchorage. I love taking trips in this van. It's the most comfortable thing we have to drive. We've had so many good experiences in this van. It brings back memories every time I get into the driver's seat. And the drive into Anchorage from the backcountry of Alaska is epic. I mean, it's just gorgeous. If this was anywhere else, it'd be some kind of a scenic designated highway, but it's just another day in Alaska, and it's going to be a good day. Road trips are always somewhat uncommon for us who live in the backcountry of Alaska. So when we get a chance to take the roads and explore this amazing state, we like to take the unexpected detours. On this trip, I'm super excited to share with you what we found. We are going on a dog mushing tour with Susitna Sled Dog Adventures in Talkeetna, Alaska. Our friends Roan and Alyssa Boozer are professional dog mushers. They are like racing royalty in this area of Alaska because Roan is a second-generation musher. They take us on a tour of the kennels, let us pet the dogs. We then connect the dogs to the winter-ready sled, and off we go into the wild, frozen adventure. If you're ever in Talkeetna area and care to experience this for yourself, then reach out to Roan and Alyssa at Susitna Sled Dog Adventures. I know they will be thrilled to take you on a tour. I'll put their website in the link to this video description. Let's go back to our road trip to the big city. Greetings from Camp Cabela's. Yes, that's right. We're camping in the Cabela's parking lot in Anchorage, Alaska. It's a popular spot. Cabela's generally, with their permission, gives us RVers permission to camp overnight. We're in a trip to the big city of Anchorage, Alaska from our home in the backwoods of Alaska to do some shopping and on a little bit of business trip for the boss lady. And so we're camping in our Coachman Galleria tonight, and this thing is so luxurious for this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. What do you think?
Cozy.
It's cozy. Rumple blanket, peppermint tea. We've got internet. We're uploading videos right now. We've got a super cool video coming. We've got smart TV, Starlink on the roof. And by the way, we post new videos every Saturday and then short videos throughout the week, usually every other day. Tomorrow we're gonna send the boss lady off to do some work, and I'm gonna miss her, but she'll be back soon. And I'll be back with you very soon too on another Living My Alaska. How long did it say? I don't remember. 10 minutes? Oh! Back to the van. Today is a good day. We're headed to the big city of Anchorage to pick up the boss lady. She's flying in from Dutch Harbor. She's been away for 3 weeks on a work assignment, and I'm excited. We're prepping the van. It's springtime, so that means we can de-winterize this machine. That means we can take out the winterization fluids that we put in it. We can fill it with water and get it ready for spring and summer adventures in Alaska. I'll show you how we do that right now. So we're getting ready to de-winterize this van. That means taking it out of winter storage, putting it full of fluids, filling it full of water. And the way we do that is I keep all of my tools and dirty stuff in here, and that includes the water hoses that I need to fill up this van. This is our water fill station. And we have an outdoor shower that you can plug in a hose to. It goes right here. fills up our water tanks. I think it's a 30-gallon tank. That gives us enough water for many, many days. In the wintertime, we drain these tanks, of course, because we don't want things to freeze. And when it's negative 40 out here, there's no way to keep those tanks from not freezing. So this thing is right now is filled with an antifreeze throughout the lines and the tank. And there's probably a little bit of that antifreeze in the tank. I have to pump all that stuff out. This is the pressure regulating valve. This connects to a water faucet and it prevents too much pressure from pushing. And if there's too much pressure through here, it can bust lines in the van. Survival guide tip number 1 for Alaska, be sure you have a pressure regulator on the end of your filler hose. One of my favorite hoses is this one. Crumples up pretty good. Keep it wrapped up with this simple little thing. I believe I bought this at Buc-ee's. In the southern part of the United States, there's a famous gas station and convenience store called Buc-ee's, and it's basically a mecca for people traveling across the United States in the southern part, Buc-ee's. So here we have what I put in this storage box for a weekend camping trip, and I've got a couple surprises for Dawn when she gets here. When she's gone for 3 weeks at a time like this, when she comes back, I always make it a big deal. It's a bit of a celebration. And so this time around, she's been wanting a smaller solo stove to take with us on trips so she can make s'mores. The girl loves s'mores more than she loves anything else in the whole world. I bought her this little solo stove. You burn wood in here, you hold your s'mores over the top of it. Super excited. And one of the things I found is this old Coleman camp oven. This thing folds out and you put it on top of an oven or a stove or a fire pit, and it heats and you can bake things in this. So we're going to be baking fresh homemade biscuits in this thing and trying out the birch sap that we just finished making. You can see that in a separate video. I'm so excited to find this thing. Look how old this is, and it's in new condition. So one of the other things we throw in the box is this jet boil. This is a large size jet boil. It opens up, it has 2 burners on it, and it runs on these propane bottles. Little fold out table made by Nemo and a couple of camp chairs. And that's what we bring inside this box. So this is the Owl Vans box, and you can see what I have in here. I've got some firewood. This is the air compressor hose, fire starting equipment here. We're going to put all this stuff in there. We're going to lock it up and get ready to go. So up here is basically my emergency toolkit. What I have in here is an extra extension cord, a funnel, air compressor hose, air compressor fitting, and emergency booster cables in case we get a dead battery or in case somebody else gets a dead battery. These are extra fuel cans in case we need diesel. These are made by Rotopacks. And so that's how we pack. And so Owl Vans built these boxes and they do such a great job. Bravo to John and the team at Owl Vans for doing this. I'm gonna put a link to Owl Vans in my description. And no, they don't pay me to do this. They don't know me. I've sure spent a lot of money with them. Anyway, this is how we pack. I'm super excited. As you can tell, I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go inside. I'll show you how we pack. I know all of you want to know, what do they eat? What do they eat when they're camping? So I'll show you inside. One of the reasons we love this Coachman Galleria 24FL is because of this relatively large freezer refrigerator combo. It allows us to go for extended stays. So right now in here I have, biscuits, Sprite, yogurt, some salads for my wife, some bratwurst for me, some treats for her, some drinking water. And in the freezer I've kind of cheated. I'm going lazy on this trip. I've got some Stouffer's pre-made, stuffed bell peppers, some breakfast sausage, and a few more frozen dinners. And that's what we're going to eat this weekend. I grew up in South Louisiana around some very good Cajun cooks, and we're going to share with you some of that cooking technique and skill and some of the great meals we can prepare in future videos. But for this weekend, it's all about the adventure, not the cooking. So this is what we're eating. Before every road trip, we do a safety check. I do a walk around the outside of the vehicle and I do a safety check in the vehicle to make sure we're good to go. There's a lot of moving parts on this machine, folks, and you don't want something to break down and ruin otherwise a fantastic vacation. It's good to do it now ahead of time. First thing I do is I check the tires. These tires are almost new. They're in good shape. I can see they're fully inflated. So the outside of the van, the awning is in. That's important. It's all the way locked in. I see nothing hanging off. The rear tire is the same thing. I've already checked the tire pressure. Good. I had to do a quick check under there. Suspension looks good. This is shut. That's good. My bike racks are locked down. Nothing's gonna fly off. These boxes are locked, padlock and locked. Traction pads are locked and locked in. They're not going anywhere. And I make sure this is shut. Make sure this is closed down here. This is where we fill up with propane when we need it. This is where we dump our fluids when we're done traveling. This is locked. This is kind of important here. This is our water fill station, and I need to make sure it's locked before I go anywhere. So that's the outside. Now let's go inside. Let there be light. Before we roll down the road, refrigerator and freezer are locked. If this is open and you hit a bump, this is gonna fly out and everything you've got in there is going across this van. These drawers have a locking mechanism when you push them. I go back here and I make sure all of my blinds are shut, windows are shut, TV is locked in place. This rear sofa is all the way up. And I make sure my Starlink is in the off position. And then I come over to my control panel. So I'll turn my lights off, water pump is off, generator is off, and everything looks good here. Lawn awning is locked. So we're good to go. I can check my power,
Everything's green. That's a good sign. So the last thing we do before we leave is we check under the hood. But guys, I gotta tell you, there's not much to see under here. There's no dipstick to pull out and check the oil. I can look and see, you know, if these fluids are full, you know, that's full. You can't see the depth. There's not much to see in there. Air filters right here. It's all locked down. Mercedes is basically a closed system, but it's extremely low maintenance. And by the way, everything is computerized, so I can check all these systems, well, basically everything from inside the van. And if there's ever a problem, I assure you the computers in this van are smarter than me. They're gonna let me know ahead of time. But I still stick my head under here once in a while, make sure everything's okay. But there's nothing really to check like on a conventional vehicle. I get the impression Mercedes says, don't mess with our machines, leave it. The maintenance record is, I think, every 15,000 miles for an oil change. They look over everything. We just had that done, so we're good to go. I'm excited. The beautiful turning in arm, ladies and gentlemen, just south of Anchorage, Alaska. This turning in arm is basically just an inlet that stops, and we're looking for beluga whales out there at that point. All right, we're at Beluga Point, and it might be misleading in here, but that wind is rocking out there. It doesn't look good. We certainly won't expect to see any whales today, but I'm gonna step outside and I'm gonna show you guys how rough this wind is right now. Oh! Wind and rain. Back in the van. All right, so here's what we're doing. Change the plans. No whales today. Maybe in the morning we're gonna come back by here, but I think we're gonna head down to the little town of Girdwood, Alaska. Take you into the little town of Girdwood. I'll show you what it looks like. And I'm getting hungry. Big boy responsible thing to do would be to eat what I have in this van, because I just spent a bunch of money stocking it up. The more fun thing to do would definitely be to go into town. I can't decide. I was hoping we could cook outside tonight. We ain't doing that, folks. We are not doing that. It is raining. Welcome to Girdwood. I believe we found a camping spot for the night. It's relatively flat. This is my view for the evening. Not bad. We're at the back of a city park, and I don't see any signs. I don't see there's going to be a problem here. What I'd love to show you is how quickly this thing sets up for camping, and that's one of the things we love about this machine. And it basically looks like this. You shut the engine off, you make sure the power is on, pull down all the shades, switch on the Starlink, and that's it. It gets cozy in here when you shut off some of these. So here we go. This is how I like it. Underneath the cabinet, what's called mood lights, also known as pimp lights. Air heater on. 70 is a little bit warm. And there's one thing I want to show you. So I thought you guys would like to see the privacy curtain in action. This is an insulated blanket, lightly insulated. This will be plenty. It's not about really insulation tonight, it's more about privacy. Front cab, very cozy. We're headed back here. So we're set up for dinner and a movie. Or in this case, dinner with Living My Alaska. Even better. I'm gonna probably use our microwave to heat up some of those pre-prepared meals that I brought with me. And the best way to do that is to crank the generator, because the microwave uses a lot of power. It's a very simple process. We'll go over to the control panel here, the start button. We're gonna let that generator run for about 5 minutes for it to warm up and get ready before we fire up the microwave. We're gonna be good boy tonight, and I'm not going to go to the restaurants without my wife. Stouffer's stuffed peppers. Those actually look pretty good. So, 4 little stuffed bell peppers stuffed with beef and tomato sauce. Tender ground beef. Instructions, as if we ever need to read those. One of the beautiful benefits of having such a nice RV is having something like a microwave. How long did it say? I don't remember. 10 minutes? So we set it on frozen vegetable for automatic 8 minutes. We're gonna do it like that, and then we'll set it for another 8 and another 8 if we need it. I know this is gonna be extremely delicious. Super exciting. Should I grab this with my hands? Might be kind of hot. Check this out. Stuffed bell peppers and a ranch tomato sauce. It may not look like much, but it smells really good. It is green bell pepper stuffed with rice and ground beef, like an Italian seasoning on it. And guys, it's super tasty. So I'm super excited. Manger. So cleanup is pretty easy in a camper van. We have a limited amount of water, limited amount of energy, so I don't go through the trouble of washing dishes and all that sort of thing. And there's a better way to do that, which is paper plates. And guys, I gotta tell you, so Stouffer's, first time I've ever eaten this, Stouffer's stuffed bell peppers are quite tasty. I am pleased with it. I'm definitely gonna buy that again. One of the challenges in camper vans was where you put the garbage can. There are many camper vans that don't have a garbage can at all. They hang a bag on the back of the door or something like that. Coachman was smart enough to actually give us a garbage can.
show you guys what we use for cleanup. These are called Crocodile Original. They're not really made to wipe your face or anything with because they're made for industrial strength, but they really clean things well. When you're living in such a small space like this, even if it's temporary, one of the challenges you have is you've got to keep everything extremely tidy, clean and organized. Otherwise it gets real uncomfortable and real stinky in here real quick. Okay, let's go for a walk. As you can see, we're parked at a ball field. Nobody's playing ball tonight. We're gonna go down to the side of Girdwood, go over to the little grocery store Mercantile and get my wife some eggs. And if I get lucky, maybe I'll find her some boiled eggs. And we need something for dessert. I owe you guys an apology. I headed out to the grocery store with an almost dead battery. As soon as I got across the road and got to the little Mercantile, I turned the camera back on so you could see it, and the camera was dead. Found my sweetheart some eggs. That's good. Almond milk. Sugar cookie. What is a sugar cookie without the sugar? It's called a cracker. Our thing right now is, yes, this is an oven. Not just a microwave, but a convection oven that's capable of baking biscuits and cookies. That's the plan anyway. So I have tin foil and I have olive oil, and I think maybe we can make a cookie sheet out of that. We'll give it a shot. So what I'm doing is wrapping this rack with tin foil, and I'm gonna spread some olive oil on the top of it so maybe the cookies won't stick. What else is there to do on a rainy night? Early spring in Alaska besides sit around and eat. That's what we did all winter, which is why I'm so out of shape and I need to lose 20 pounds. No, we're not going to cook all of these cookies. We will save some for my sweetheart for tomorrow night. We will be camping in a better spot than this. Oh look, boss lady calling us right now. Success. Sugar cookies from the convection oven in the camper van. Milk, cookies. It's so cozy back here. Little cookies there. We're gonna watch some TV. Rough life. See you soon. We're headed into Anchorage. I'm picking up Dawn from the airport, and we're going on a van camping overnight adventure. We see wildlife, we find a heavenly spot to camp in the bad weather, and we eat breakfast at our favorite cafe. It's all part of this wildlife and the great land. Let's go. Good morning from Girdwood, Alaska. I'm in a good mood this morning, as you can tell, and there's a reason for that. I'm picking up my sweetheart at the airport. My wife is coming back after a 3-week work assignment in the remote village island town of Dutch Harbor, Alaska. Something I wanted to show you guys before we start up here. I wanted to show you how in the mornings there's a quick and easy way to get a hot cloth to wipe off your face, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so dude shower. Made by Dude Wipes. They look like this when they come out. They come in different sizes. Pull one out of the package. Throw it in the microwave for about 10 seconds and no more. Don't nuke the thing forever, folks, but I find about 5 to 10 seconds works really well, and that thing is going to be steaming hot. Oh, that feels so good. It's hot. That only took 5 seconds, and it's wonderful. So this is where we slept last night, right? This thing folds down into a bed. I used this pillow. It looks like this when it's folded up. It's made by Hest, and I got it at REI. And I used this large size puffy blanket made by Rumpel, R-U-M-P-L, also made at REI. So, sofa has to go up. I push my blinds in the open position. So we stow away all toys, turn the TV off. TV remote goes in here with the electronic cabinet. We make sure this TV is locked in place. We're gonna put away our computer, bag made by Thule. This little portable hard drive is where I collect all of my content that we then edit and post. So these cabinets don't open very easily with anything pushing. There's a lip right here so this computer can't slide out. So now we can move to the front. We make sure this is locked. We make sure this is locked. So for the next step of taking this van up down the highway is to take down the front. This is basically a quilt I bought at REI, and it hangs here, and it does a really good job as a privacy barrier and as a temperature barrier from the front of the van. And it just pops off like this. It's got these little sticky tab hooks. So I'm just rolling this up. I'm going to stuff it behind my seat in my little box because we're going to use it again tonight. I just heard from Dawn. She's packing up. Ocean Airways has left Anchorage and it's headed to Dutch Harbor. That's a good sign because the weather is questionable today. We have winds and rain. All right, so we're gonna fire this thing up and we are headed over to Beluga Point. So it's time to crank the van and recharge these batteries. We're gonna turn the propane off for safety, and that's all we have to do in here. All right, guys, let's start this machine up. Woohoo! All right, we're off. All right, let's go to Beluga Point. Eyeglasses, seatbelt. We're headed out of Girdwood. We're headed north back towards Anchorage, down the up the Turnagain Arm. Let's go. Here we are. We're on Turnagain Arm. This is the famous beluga point, named that because beluga whales like to swim right through here. And you see their big white backs come up and down out of this water. Let's see, it's almost 10 a.m. I just heard from Dawn in Dutch Harbor. She's planning on flying out between 11 and 11:30, weather permitting. She's got a 2-hour flight into Anchorage. So as soon as we hear from her that she's actually getting on that plane and flying out, we're gonna head into Anchorage, do a little more shopping, and go park at the airport and wait for her. All right, so I've decided to suck it up, and in the name of YouTube video entertainment, we're gonna go outside in this absolutely terrible wind and cold. It's probably 40, yeah, it's in the mid 40s. Oh, it's so pretty in here. Almost fell. Jeez. All right, it's windy, guys. Oh, this is beautiful in here. All right, this is the famous Turnagain Arm. That's about as far as I want to go, because if I stand there, that wind is going to be kicking and it's cold. Okay, so when we got out of the van, I saw some wild sheep up on these peaks. Up there, I can see them right now. So I want to go back to the van. We're going to get the binoculars out and see if we can put the camera up the binoculars and let you see those sheep. Okay, you guys, I'm back at the van. Folks, there's a black bear right there. You see it? Oh, folks, that is a big, beautiful black bear crawling up those mountains. Okay, so good news. We just heard from Dawn. She just sent me a text. She's boarding the airplane from Dutch Harbor. So I'm trying to get some photo and some zoom imagery of the sheep that's on the top of the mountain. And while I'm doing that, this massive black bear comes walking right across the peak in front of me. So I sure hope we got him. I have a new Sony A7 camera. I don't know how to use it. So I couldn't figure out how to zoom in to get the bear or the sheep on camera, but I'm so disappointed that we can find no whales out here today. So I'm not sure what's happening with the whales. Okay, guys, we're headed to Anchorage. Gonna make a few stops, pick up the wife, have some lunch. Let's go. Turn left and get out of here. Oh, it's a good time. Let's go right now. Getting to the Bellas in Anchorage, Alaska, guys. Can't wait to show you the inside of this place. The inside is absolutely beautiful. Cabela's in Anchorage. Here we go. It's Cabela's in Anchorage, guys. Absolutely beautiful. This is North American Big Game Display, tribute to American sportsmen. We do have elk in Alaska, some of the islands, mountain goats, and sheep. These are Dall sheep. This is what we were spotting on the side of the hill earlier. Full-size North American black bear. You see my hand versus his paw. And I'm not a little guy. I'm a little over 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. This is a big bear compared to me. Let's go get some lunch. Well, that was a fun little trip to Cabela's. Glad you guys could come along. All right, I think we're going to go grab a smash burger. So this is the smash burger. It smells delicious. Smash burger, smash fries, some chicken wings. We're headed to the airport. Dawn should be landing from her plane from Dutch Harbor in about 2 hours, maybe less. Let's go. Okay, airport cell phone lot to the right. So if any of you ever come to Anchorage, this is where you might park if you're going to be out for a few days. And straight ahead is one of the world's largest and busiest seaplane ports. So guess what? We're gonna bust into some smash burger. Yep, it's gonna be tasty. Smash burger with rosemary, fries, chicken wings with rosemary, and the famous smash burger. We'll watch some TV, eat some smash burger, and wait for Dawn. Hey, you guys, check this out. There's a bush plane coming in with floats on it. That's what it's about, guys. Just got a text from Dawn. She's on the ground. The plane has landed. We're gonna go pick her up. Super excited. Puts me in a good mood when my wife comes home from these trips. She's been away for 3 weeks running the little medical facility in Dutch Harbor, Alaska. If you guys don't know by now, Dawn is a registered nurse by trade. She's been in management for a long time now. Upper management, to be exact. We're about to get a lot more fun around here, you guys. The boss lady back with us. We're going to the Black Bear campground, and you can see the weather's pretty nasty.
So it looks like we're going to be sitting inside watching YouTube tonight, making some dinner. With salmon viewing area here. This is not exactly the campground.
No. We could park in here though.
It says overnight use prohibited.
Oh.
Wow, man, look at all the snow that's in here still.
Yeah.
Well, in a couple weeks it'll be gone, but I mean, I would have bet money we were in here last year, but maybe it was later. So we may as well turn around and go back the other way, right?
Yes, I think so. And we wouldn't be able to get up to the Portage Glacier either.
No.
If it's
No,
this
you're
much
right.
snow down here. Here comes a van.
I see that. Somebody's camper van. Dinner time in the camper van. I have my sweetheart back with me, so I'm super excited. I'm making her some dinner. And tonight's delicious dish, Stouffer's Salisbury steak in the microwave. Something simple. Terrible weather outside. We did not make it to our campground because the campground is still closed because the campground is still buried in snow. So we found an alternative spot, so we're free camping tonight, which is totally cool. Boss lady's back there relaxing, and I'm gonna serve her some food. This is an easy way when things are tight and you're tired from a long day, don't have time to cook, can't cook outside because the weather's terrible. These pre-prepared meals and the luxury of a really fantastic microwave are wonderful convenience. So honey, I hope this is good. You need a spoon. Salisbury steak and mac and cheese. It's one of your favorites, I know this. Okay, I'm not sure what else. That's a fork. You're seeing here, I think we have some real forks. Oh, there we go, demanding woman. Your fork is served.
Gourmet meal.
That's it. So that's what she's having. I am having chicken teriyaki bowl. We're gonna stick this in the microwave. And we're gonna sit down, we're watching TV. We watching Jeremy Clarkson. What's the name of the show we're watching, honey?
Clarkson Farms.
Clarkson Farms 3. Teriyaki bowl in the microwave. No, we're not gonna read the directions. We're just gonna guess it. Wonderful. How is it?
It's actually really good.
Oh, good.
Either I'm really hungry or it's just really
Well, a little bit of both because I made it myself.
Of course.
All right, we've had some dinner. Dawn's gonna get the beds ready to clean up in here, and I'm gonna go for a walk outside. Okay, honey, I'll be back.
Okay.
Yuck. This is life in Alaska, but it's still absolutely beautiful. Check out this view. This is why we live here. Let's go for a walk. High mountain peaks, steady rainfall. That's an avalanche chute straight ahead right here. This big long thing going up and down. This is where the snow comes. You guarantee you it's snowing on top of that mountain tonight. And this is an outstanding little spot back in here for a tent, or you could probably sneak your four-wheel drive truck back in here, or a small van even. Life is good tonight. I have my wife back after her 3 weeks in Dutch Harbor. We've got her back. We're gonna go home tomorrow. We're going inside. It's freezing out here. I hope Dawn has the bed set up, the heater's on. Oh, honey, it's terrible out there. Yuck. I thought you guys would like to see how we got the bed set up. We keep a couple of these rumple blankets, some foam pads. That is an electric sliding couch, and it lays down flat into a bed. And this is how we sleep at night, and it works really well. All right, we'll see you again soon.
Roughing it.
We're roughing it. Breakfast?
Yes.
Breakfast. We're going to breakfast in Girdwood. We had an awesome night camping. I'm taking my sweetheart to breakfast in a wonderful little spot in Girdwood, Alaska. What in the world is that? This is a starter breakfast before the real breakfast? All right, you got it. Oh, it looks delicious. What's in it?
Breakfast sandwich. Breakfast of champions.
Rough living.
Uh-huh.
Cheers. Leftovers were stuffed. Great place to eat if you guys ever visit Girdwood, Alaska. Van Greatling is parked right there. We're headed home. I gotta get keys out of my pocket. Van Greatling did great on this trip. Really comfortable. He would help you.
Help me or open the door.
Potter Marsh is an area just south of Anchorage, Alaska. They've got this beautiful parking area where we can go and walk on this boardwalk and see all the wildlife. Tough life, somebody's got to live it. We're gonna go see some little critters. So there are the swans. Dawn's over there getting some really good photos. We're gonna go over there and see what she's doing. We are taking our camper van on an epic trip to the massive and wild Denali National Park. Stunning.
Stunning.
We go for some hikes, we spot some awesome wildlife, and there's so much more. It all starts now on Living My Alaska. Hey, I'm Bennett.
And I'm Dawn.
And this is Living My Alaska on YouTube. We have 10 days in Denali National Park, and we are super excited. But we're making a short stop in the beautiful little town of Talkeetna. This is the Talkeetna Gear Shop. Going inside? Yeah.
The historic and family-owned, locally owned Talkeetna Gear Shop. This place is fantastic. If you ever come to Talkeetna or make it through Alaska and you want a place to find some really great gear at fantastic prices and support the local business owners, this is the place to come. So you're from New Mexico or?
We're ready to fight the mosquitoes.
Talkeetna Gear Shop, folks. Come and visit sometime. Wonderful people, wonderful place, wonderful community.
Hi, so we're getting our bike racks ready.
A company called One Up makes these bike racks, and they're fantastic, really sturdy, and they bolt onto these fantastic Owl Vans Sherpa racks. So the bikes will go vertical like this instead of horizontal.
Let's go get some bikes.
Oh, these are heavier than our other bikes. Super excited. I've always wanted to try the electric bikes. Summertime in Talkeetna, Alaska. It's getting back to life. It's amazing how quickly it changes around here. Just a month ago, there was still snow on this road. It was quiet.
Headed into Talkeetna downtown. It's definitely more lively today. Sun is out. It is beautiful.
The historic downtown Talkeetna Main Street, Fairview Inn. Nagley's store is over 100 years old. And there's a very interesting place that my wife wants to stop called Wall Bikes up here. And it's basically a giant collection of old items and junk. And we've never been inside, so we're gonna check this out. It's called Wall Bikes, and here it is. See if he's open.
This is Walmart's redheaded stepchild.
Look at this, folks. Wow, at the collection of eccentrics. Let's go inside and see what this is about. What are you gonna do if you find something you terribly need? Were you taking it? Take it to Denali with us?
Yes, it's gonna go to Denali.
All right, let's go. Come on. How about we start by going inside and saying hello? Ooh, I love it.
Boil some sap on that.
Yeah, we could make that into a sap boiler. There's all sorts of great, I mean, there's a whole bunch in here, and this is actually an old wood-fired cook stove, which in itself is worth a fortune, especially in backcountry of Alaska.
What did you ask me before we got out of the van? What are you
What happens if we find a beautiful wood stove that we might need?
Yep. Exactly.
The inside of the famous Wall Mics. This is a fantastic place. Look at the stuff in here, folks. It's endless and it's really eclectic. Everything from medicine to leather holsters. This gentleman's pushing 80 that owns this, and he's been here for, I don't know what, 60 years, 40 something years, I think. That is the mountain called Denali, in the Alaska Range. You're looking at the Denali State Park, a little bit different from Denali National Park, which is on the other side of the mountain. And that's where we're headed, to the other side of the mountain. What do you think, honey? Stunning?
Stunning.
Greetings from the Denali Highway. It's May and it's springtime, and we're van camping in Vanlife.
Hi guys, we are boondocking and found one of the best spots I believe you could find. Pretty amazing. It's gonna be our home for tonight, maybe tomorrow night too, we'll see. Enjoying some Alaska springtime. All right, this is our view for the night. Not bad for a boondocking spot. What are you saying, hon?
I think it's as good as it gets.
Pretty damn great.
This is how we live my Alaska, right here. It's almost 10 p.m. I'm ready to go in and get warm. Excited for another day to come. Tomorrow I'll try to do some fishing. See you tomorrow.
Good morning from Denali Highway. We spent the night here at this lovely little spot next to a river running through, and just over my shoulder to the right was a bull moose this morning. Wanted to share with you our morning and What a beautiful sight, early summer in Denali Highway.
This is why we live in Alaska and we love to go camping in our camper van, because it brings us to places like this. But it's time for breakfast. No reason to rough it. We have toasted hash browns, boiled eggs, some of our favorite cheese, fruit smoothies, yogurt. Here you go, love. Is that good?
Breakfast of champions.
Breakfast of champions. Yes, let's see what's in here. Oh yeah, these look fantastic. We don't normally cook much in our camper van because we don't like to smell it up. But it's a bit chilly outside this morning. Boar's Head brand turkey sausage for breakfast. How is it? Not bad, huh?
Tasty.
Good.
Hi, so we are on Denali Highway, had a nice breakfast, and now Bennett is going to see if he can do some fishing. I'm not so sure. This creek is running pretty fast. I'm not sure what he can catch, if anything, but we'll see.
Too much water, it's moving too fast.
He smelled me.
So on this road, as we walk, there are moose prints. This is the track of an adult female moose. You can see her hoof is right here. She's going this way. This is the back of her heel. This is the front. We know it's a female by the way this is shaped. If it were a bull, it would be straighter and he'd have two, what they call tines, marks in the sand back here. And you can see where she walks straight up the road. The animals in Alaska aren't stupid. They're gonna find the easiest path to where they wanna go. Welcome to the Denali Highway in Alaska, everyone. One of my favorite places to be.
Hi guys. So we stopped on the side of the road here in Denali Highway, and Bennett's throwing a fish hook in the water, and I'm going for just a little stroll around this beautiful lake. Thought I would take you guys with us. Here we go. Very soft marsh out here. Be careful where I step. There's the husband right off the road there, trying to see what he can do with the fishing situation.
So check this out. This is kind of cool. This is a beaver dam. This little levee right here with grass and wood and sticks, the beavers built this. And what happens is the fish love this water downstream from the beaver pond. So this is a fantastic place to fish. Somebody's broken this beaver pond so that water can flow through here correctly, but I'm not catching any fish. Won't be any good here, it's too shallow. The deep water is over there. I'm sure glad I'm not in a traffic jam in Dallas right now. "9:30 in the evening, 9:30 p.m. along the Denali Highway. We've been planning this trip all winter, but we're super excited to finally be here. Check this out, folks. Wow. Jeep Overlanding Club coming down the Denali Highway. Jeeps going around the corner on the mountainside, and now it's back to just us, and it's quiet. What a scene this is. This is good. This is why we live here. This is why we go camping. This is why we own a camper van. This is what it's about. This is why we endure the long winters in Alaska. This is the reward. Love it.
A camper van is a great way to experience Alaska, and we made a huge playlist just for you to see more about van life in the last frontier. I think you'll love what you find. Join me in the Van Life in Alaska playlist right now. Let's go.